Hello, everyone. I'm I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you all are here for this full moon card reading ritual for tonight. I'm Sarah, founder, founder and creator of embracing the Estuary Moments and your intuitive catalyst guide. I support and empower and hold space for the way showers, liberating leaders, long life wisdom practitioners, and visionary and dream architects that have the hustling eager beaver as their Clark Kent personas. My aim with everything, including with this reading, including with events like this, is to guide these folks and everyone else through intuitive card reading divination and spiritual accompaniment on how to be a living estuary moment from a place of love and freedom as they are redirecting their labor to do actions that bring aliveness and legacy in this world. For those who don't know, uh, an estuary is a partially enclosed body of water that forms when the rivers meet with the sea, creating unique ecosystems that provide great nesting grounds, filter out pollutants, and support the diversity of many species that live near those waters. And today, we're going to do a full moon card reading ritual that will unveil the estuary moments and energies that are arising. During the ritual, I start with a grounding check-in. Then I go into two rituals, the releasing practice and the receiving practice. For the full moon, the receiving practice focuses on how to receive fulfillment. You're invited to participate. However, there is no obligation if you're not called to. After these practices, then we can get started on the reading. This is where things get juicy from there. And you never know what the cards will say, or we'll never know what's going to be showing up. When the reading is done, then I do a closing ritual, which is usually in a mysterious bag. From there, I will give some updates, and then we'll say goodbye and farewell. Oh, let me see if there are people here. If anyone shout out watching, and if not, like you can watch the recording as well. I'll give a minute. So, I mean, even if you didn't come live, like if you register, you do receive a recording of this event. So don't feel too bad if you didn't have time to make it. So okay, let's get started, and we'll do this. We'll do a grounding with a self hug, and we'll start from there. So you can have your eyes closed or open. You can, and usually you put across your your elbows like this. You can't see it. So above your elbows, or you could do it like across on your with your hands on your shoulders. And I feel like it hands on my shoulders for me. If you want to do it yourselves, you can do it too. But I just feel like on my shoulders, so give it a minute. 30 more seconds. Now you breathe in and breathe out. You could put your hands on wherever feels comfortable. And I'm putting my hands on where it's feeling comfortable. And for release practice, we'll do an intentional breathe in and breathe out, equal counts, but and however you want to count them. But I want you to think about like what you want to exhale out. And as you go to then what do you want to invite in? So I would, whatever you want to intend, and if you're seeing this recording later, like just start receiving what you want to exhale out and what you want to invite in. Your inhale is what you want to invite in, and as you invite in, like give yourself permission to exhale out the things that don't serve you, or things that you just want to like rest and digest or let go of. So we'll do a breathe in, and we'll do it on a few counts. We'll do this like 4 times, 4 or 5, depending on where I'm feeling. So let's inhale to receive what I want to receive for tonight, and for the energy in Scorpio, which we'll talk about later on. Let's begin. Like breathe in to receive. And exhale to let go. Breathe in to breathe in. And breathe out. Now keep your intention of what you want to invite in and what you want to release throughout. 2 more times. Breathe in to invite what you want to receive. And exhale. Breathe in. And breathe out. Now you can shake, give yourself a minute there. Now we can do our ritual of receiving fulfillment and completion. Receive. This will be a visualization meditation. You're not, like I said, you're not an obligation to participate if you want to do something else, but I want to leave for those who are open to that. So let's invite in, and like if you're sitting, sit up. If you're sitting down, like, and close your eyes, and I'll lead the meditation. So I can close your eyes. So imagine light underneath your tailbone. Imagine your feet on the ground. And imagine surrounding like whatever favorite place of nature that you want your feet to be on, and what your whole body and your feet to be on. Now, as the light of your table starts to light up, have gravity meet you. Imagine like gravity meeting your feet. How does that feel like? What are you sensing? The sight, the sound, the smell, the touch. What does it feel like if you call gravity to meet you and the earth to meet you? Now, as you are now getting to meet gravity, it's now time to meet the earth. Have the light from your tailbone enter through the earth and through the earth, like imagine it like coming down to the earth through the soil, through the crust, through the magma. Imagine the as it's going through, it is spreading its light like a root going to the ground. As it's going through the ground, let it come to the ground till it meets the core of the earth. As it meets the core of the earth, and now have it meet the core of the earth. Let the core of the earth receive you, and you receiving core of the earth. How does that feel? Like, what are you sensing? What are you seeing? What are you smelling? What are you touching? What are you tasting? What are you hearing? As you are receiving each other, have the energy from the core of the earth travel through the light to what? To the core, the light, the energy from the core of the earth moving up. Traveling all over places where the core broke through and where its roots are taking hold. What are you sensing? What are you seeing? Smelling? What are you feeling? What are you hearing? And what are you noticing? The energy of the core is moving, it's flowing, and at even pace, coming up to getting closer to the surface. And now it is now at the surface, going through the tailbone, filling up the energy of the core from there. with the energy from the core, filling up your pelvic bowl, all your pelvic floor. Now connect the crown, start lighting the top of your head, the crown. Have a light have a light sent to the sky and have it travel to the sky from the crown of your head, leaving the atmosphere through the sky as you are having an energy from the crown traveling up through the sky and leaving the ozone layer. What are you sensing? Are you seeing, feeling, noticing? What are you sensing? Traveling through the atmosphere, through the solar system, through the soul, passing through the planets, and then through the planets. Now the light is traveling away from the soul system, and through the stars and through the galaxies, all the way up to the next black hole. The light traveling through the black hole. As you travel to the black hole, you're seeing iridescent light figure astral plane or whatever it is in the black hole. Have your light received that figure or that place? Is it your higher self? Is it all energy? Or is it just the void wanting to receive you? Or is it iridescent light wanting to receive you? What are you seeing? Now, whatever's receiving it, have it give you gold light. And from the left, the gold light travel back, from traveling back from the black hole, going again through the galaxies and stars, the planets, the asteroids, the numerous of stars and galaxies. The golden light traveling through, passing through the planets. Now down and down it goes to passing through Mars. And now it's entering the atmosphere. Now moving to the sky, and now entering back to the crown. What are you sensing and what are you feeling? Is it, what are you seeing? What are you sensing? What are you smelling? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? What are you tasting? Now have those two lights start traveling down, have the light travel down, and have the light from the pelvic bowl travel up until they meet the heart center. when they're meeting, what are you seeing? What are you sensing? What are you experiencing? Notice how each of them are traveling, how they're moving, how they're flowing. Is it slow and steady? Is it like the rushing river? Is it like the wind? Or is it like oozing lava that's just pouring out from a volcano? So wait until you see it. As soon as you see both ends meet at the chest, with the light from the ground coming down through the throat and mouth and face, through the shoulders, and light from the pelvic bowl coming off through the navel and through the diaphragm and through the other vital organs. As soon as you met with, and now both of them are at the heart center. And as they at the heart center, now they're dancing. How else are they coming together? As they're coming together, now let's take us back to the present, and we'll breathe in 4 counts. Breathe in 4 times, sorry. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now that you're getting back, just let the heart go to the heart space. What do you want to, how do you want to say goodbye to it? Say goodbye to this wonderful dance and expansion. And what message does that place want to give you? Do they want to give anything? Do they want to anything? If not, if nothing, and just a goodbye and thank you, then you can go. But if you have if it has a message or a gift, just let them explain the gift. And then so after you say goodbye, or say goodbye with a gift or a message, now you can open your eyes. Shake out if you need to, or do a little bit. Whew. Now that was fun. Oh. If you've tried to do this meditation and if you've experienced anything, or if you've seen anything worthwhile, let me know. So now we can get to the reading. For this reading, this will go in this. There's like 4 areas we're gonna look at. We're gonna look at what are the astromers that are present during this full moon. The second area is what is being cleared and released as a result of this current estuary moment of of the Estuary Moments. Third is what fulfillment and completions are now occurring. And then 4, dreams to carry with you. So let's pull some cards. And we'll do the one that's what are the Estuary Moments that are occurring at the moment in this full moon Scorpio. Now, like if the moon is in Scorpio, and Scorpio is basically ruled by Pluto and Mars. Pluto is the symbol, is the underworld, transformation, change. So, and Mars represents passion, and passion, drive, strength. It also meant it's also meant of war and aggression. So this is a deep area of change, life force, like how to, and right now, the feeling that as few days, depending on where you are, that there's a lot of things surfacing, and there's a sense of my feeling is just because it's water that a lot of things are undercurring, and so, and it doesn't help that Pluto's in Capricorn, like the big picture that means we're in a generational cycle of transformation and basically deleting cultures and systems and things that don't serve us, and through that deletion, it's also calling for what other ways of what other foundations can we also build, and we need to start clearing things so that we can't see what it can be built. So let's see what astronomers are going to happen in this one, like, and so let's start with, okay, upheaval. Oh, that's nice. And that's fertility. For the Estuary Moments, and I use oracle cards for this, upheaval, abundance, last but not least, fertility. It completely fits with the theme. It completely fits because, I mean, since we're talking about order being not just a transformation, but it's also a sign of like life and death that includes governing all the things, and water is life. So what's happening is that there is a lot of, it's going to be, I'm going to read this from left to right from my point of view, which would be upheaval, abundance, and fertility. So for upheaval, which is the triangle with the middle, and what you notice is that upheaval is basically the little sheeps are following, and it looks like they're all that there is a gap between the sheep, between the clan of sheep, and what looks like a black tornado coming. I mean, not very pleasant, and it's quite funny that this is an upside down triangle with a circle in between. that not only are you seeing a tornado going up, but it's also like something is spiraling down or spiraling up with the triangle, and this is very interesting. Like black, green and black, chasms. So if it's upheaval, chasms, abundance, it's very colorful. Looks like a bunch of cells. It's either, if you could read closely, it can look like plants, or it can look like a bunch of lively cells, like multiplying itself. A lot of green, a lot of like red color, which green is abundance. What's enough? Very, very beautiful picture. Very beautiful wood through red. This just has this feeling of like a lot of life, which can be read as either a lot of plant life or a lot of cell life. It can be really read in either direction. And then fertility. There's these color schemes are interesting. This is obviously someone who's pregnant. Who this being is carrying a descendant. And then it's also noticing that the plant is in full bloom, going up. This green plant behind her, and then noticing how there's like a half circle. So there is like green, blue, and there's a person fertility. Like put them all together. Like what's read to me is that there is a shift is occurring, but the kind of shift that is occurring is breaking down stuff that is going to make you reassess like what is bringing me life here. That is basically like what astronomers have, that there is a a session or some sort. It's feeling like, because there's the tornado with the little sheep around, like what it's basically, what I'm feeling is that this is more like rethink, is an opportunity to re-examine what do we mean by what brings life, what brings life to you, what brings life to you, what is not bringing life, what's not keeping you in an abundant spirit or in good energy. And the Estuary Moment is basically, there is like obviously chaos, but it's also like, because under the vote of Scorpio, there's like deep, like multiple feelings or multiple sensations or at once. But as you do multiple sensations and feelings, and questioning like what's happening, it is really gearing towards like what's really going to bring me and others life. Like what's enough, but what does it mean by enough? Because there's a lot of questioning, but that question comes from a deep sense of realizing all these things are either breaking down or are like breaking through, but there's a lot of like shedding and a lot of like confusion of not knowing what's next, or not knowing what to do with these sensations and feelings that are triggering a fear response, or or veiling that, oh, I haven't, oh, what, I haven't thought about this. I haven't thought about it. So for the overall reading, it's feeling like this upheaval is more like questioning or things that you're not familiar with that are outside the scope of what's showing up, that is reconsidering things. And it's also a moment of like this reconsideration, this breakdown, this threat response is probably an indicator of like what's really bringing me life, what's really going to create like a satisfying experience, what's going to bring a way of living and a way of like way of experiencing my life and my surrounding, that's going to be fruitful, that's going to be fruitful and true. And so there is this estuary moment of you're now facing things that you thought either were done or now you're going to reface them again, or threat response, that's just, or you realize that you're flooded with emotion and sensation, or there is some like things that just like got flipped, and you're at it and you're just experiencing, oh, what good can I have of this, or okay, that's delaying what, or bring like naming your deep some deep stuff, some deep values or deep stories about yourself, and about are you enough, and about like is are is am I enough, am I able to create this, am I able to create something better, am I able to find satisfaction again, like am I, you know and what this, and also realizing that some things are heavy. So for the estuary moment, there's this deep feeling of like of upheaval, of basically unveiling like things that God need to be unveiled, and is creating thing where you gotta really get to the heart of like what's really going to really nourish me and really help me, bring satisfaction and fruitfulness. But that means you have to, you know, look at this. I mean, and look at not only what's going on inside, but also look at what's external, what is actually there. Like be present to the chaos and breakdown that's there, or things that are there outside of you as well as in you. And how do you source like deep creativity and tap into like deep resources, like the resources that are surrounding you, that are still fertile, that are still fertile for whatever that is. So this is a very interesting. This is I need to think about this more, because this is like, it's not like negative. It's just that there is a lot of like energy of like unveiling shit, basically unveiling shit, and how do we find the the life and rejuvenation in the midst of shit. In the midst of shit, and where am I still, where there's still like enoughness there. So hold on with that. Sorry for talking. So next is like basically like what is letting go and what is being fulfilled. And we're gonna focus on what is being cleared and released as a result of this estuary moment. As a result of the estuary moment of finding the beauty and the worth and the enoughness, and finding what you need and what you want in the midst of change, in the midst of unveiling, in the midst of questioning, in the midst of like having so many things resurfaced, having to see like, oh my god, like a threat response being there, or realize, oh, there's something actually really bothersome and I don't know how to navigate through that. Bothersome that I need to face, that's really bothering me, and it is bothering me, and it is legitimately bothering me. It's legit, but I'm not sure where I go from there, and how do I still stay in my power. So now what's being cleared? Let's go into what is being cleared at the moment. So jumpy. I'm pretty jumpy, but okay, let's see. 9. Oh crap. Jesus, this is wow. I'm gonna go from right to left for this one. Which you got the Star card, 7 of Cups, the Tower, Tower with the Thunderbolt on the tree, and the 9 of Cups. So what's being cleared? From reading from right to left, according to my vantage point, like what as a result of the current of really finding the abundance and the fertility in the midst of upheaval, in the midst of deep healing, in the midst of deep breakdown, or either actually being threatened or having a threat response, or dealing with some internal or external things. What's being cleared is this is really deep. This is really like this weird combination of there's a lot of water, and then there's 2 arcanas, which is the Star and it's feeling right to left. And we'll start with these 2. It's like what's being cleared is the need of not. What's being cleared is this need of fixing your emotional turmoil and confusion, and just learn how to be with the confusion and in a way. And part of it is to I mean, this normally this is a positive card, but it's about clearing and releasing, so it's more like it's probably calling up the sky to get down on planet Earth. Basically, it's from what I'm seeing is normally it's renewing. Like, no, start with getting down planet Earth, figuring out how to be with emotional turmoil or cessation overload in a way where you're not shaming your responses, whether it's emotional or nervous system or your pattern, but also be aware that, but also with the understanding that you have to learn how to just hold with it. So what's clearing is clearing this need of like trying to go and fix your emotional confusion or your fix your responses. Like it's calling for a way of holding bearing witness to all, to not knowing what to choose and not how to respond or how to pick or how to deal with things that there's no end in sight. But it's pretty clear that there's like, don't try to go for a face of fixing it. So much as more like hold the contradiction that some responses, some emotional reactions, some nervous system responses, whether you intend to or not, doesn't necessarily make it good in terms of impact or how well you how well you honor your relations. Like, let's be transparent about that. But there's no need to resort to fixing it as soon as you realizing it either. Nor do you assume that it's 100% wrong either. But it doesn't take away the impact and the mismanagement of the relationships that has been created because of your emotional reaction or survival response. The survival response for many reasons, but the way to handle that and the way you handle like emotional confusion and the kind of survival responses and emotional reactions and how you go about making choices as a result of those things is not through fixing them or to go up in the sky, but go like, let's go down on planet Earth and just really, really for what is. And as you go for what is, that it's basically seeing what needs to be broken down, like wish fulfillment. And this is, if it's a tower card, that means that something is crumbling down for a good reason. So that it's basically, it's not just like what needs to be cleared is this need to fix your emotional confusion and try to look somewhere out there or repair it right now when you're not even present, to just let the emotional confusion, turmoil, and whatever survival response or response in a way to learn to be as for what is. And also and clearing this need to fix that, and it's also clearing this need to keep blocking yourself from having from having wishes, from having desires, Because then there's the confusion, turmoil, and then there's the desire and imagination and emotional longings and desire for satisfaction, desire for, having things come true. And towers, this is tricky because when you put them all together, it's this what's clearing away is this clearing of having to force yourself to choose what are the other emotions, and this need of and this really need of feeling like you have to choose one emotion or the other, and then breaking down of the fear of things falling apart, falling apart, falling apart, like if I ever put this all together from reading right to left, these, this, definitely this, definitely this is that is what's really clearing is there's a couple of things. One is clearing this need of having to pretend you have to choose either fixing your or shaming yourself for wanting to have wish fulfillment, and as well as shaming you for having emotional confusion and feeling that both of this needs to be fixed, and that's being cleared. Also, what's being cleared is that this is clearing the need to I feel like this is Scorpio is this fearing of things that have to break down, and fearing not only the breakdown but also the genuine near genuine response to them. And clearing this, it looks like clearing the shame of having not only turmoil or having things falling apart, having shame, and denial and shame. The shame of things need to be broken down. The shame of just wanting to have wishes come true, and the shame of emotional confusion about how to go about making dreams come true, or also how to go about deciding how do I want to imagine or experience, or what, or about choices are in front of me. It's really clearing shame, really clearing the shame, but it's also clearing not just shame, but also clearing this also assumption that being real with what needs to be in front of you, or what impact you're creating, has to mean that the solution, that there has to be a way to fix yourself in order to be real with the impact and of how you're showing up, or how you're showing up for people, or the need to resort to self-hatred or shaming just because they make a mistake, or that if this falling apart and it's not in your control, that you go through self-hatred or self-shaming. I mean, it's calling for that you could still be self-responsible and not go to self-hatred or fixing yourself. This is calling for how to be with, my hair's kind of whack. Well, not really whack. My hair's falling apart right now. I'm trying to get this, but basically there's this real, I mean, it's hard to get through this because these are water cards, wish fulfillment and wanting to figure out choices. and the illusion of choices. But this is really clearing and releasing the need to resort to shame yourself and be in self-hatred and guilt. A way of like calling to just be on earth and be present, including be present of how you impacted others, how you're being impacted by other people's harm or just harm or irresponsibility or whatever. And there's a lot to say. There's a huge theme of like not shaming yourself, not going to self-hatred, because that doesn't do anything. And there is a way. It's calling for declared shame and start learning how like there is a way to be self-responsible and way of owning up to things that doesn't leave you into a shame cycle, self-flagellating hellhole. Because you gotta face what's coming up anyway. Going quiet. There's no need to resort to thinking you're a bad person for facing for things breaking apart a bit, for things that have to shed and broke apart and going to the death compost and needed to say goodbye or broken down or have it be shaken up. So it's just this looking at the star card, like, and there is this theme of like not letting go of the unnecessary guilt and shame for emotional confusion, for wanting that you want for so long to fulfill as you're facing like things shaken up in your life, as you're facing like the call for self-responsibility and social responsibility and being real with your limitations a bit, or be real with like what that needs to go, that needs to be put in the compost bin and buried in the ground. So this is some like learning how to work through resorting to shame and unnecessary guilt and facing that. Now let's see like what completions have been happening. This new moon. Full moon, sorry. Now this is a deep one. Like I'm probably not even gonna touch close to the surface of this because there's a lot of like energies like that are around it, not just the planets. I'm not talking about just the astrology planets. I'm talking about like things past week with this just past last week is tumultuous. I think it just needs breathing. Like right now, like it's last week with like once again like I don't know what to say, y'all. It's like, Jesus Christ. This one is like trippy. What's going on? Oh, jeez. Man. Oh, safe passage, not too bad. Wow, this is kind of relevant. What's being completed is, I'm going to read this from left to right. Daughter of Wands, known as the Page of Wands. Three of Swords. Nine of Pentacles. And Six of Swords. With the rainbow on it. The energy going from right to left overall, what fulfillment's happened is finally a way to this is like that there's a way to move through heartbreak with passion still, with passion and clear mind. Like what's being fulfilled is showing possibilities of that. And it's going to go from left to right. Is that exploring fire and spirit, and there's just the snake and this is beautiful with pink little flowers and the wand stick, and with the snake that looks like an 8, looks like an infinity 8, like infinity, and the snake is pouring with an 8 and an infinity daughter of wands, and I think it's not just number 8, it's infinity. So it is like fire going, but ongoing exploration of the spirit, ongoing of passion and purpose and drive, and what's calling to completion is to stay and start. And then there's like the Three of Swords, self-explanatory, say no more. With the Three of Swords wrapped in dripping blood, like blood. I mean, red, it means it's blood. Red also can mean life, passion, and life. Like it's interesting how there's a passion, and then there's a bright red that's passionate. But there is like Three of Swords wrapped in red. Then Three of Swords represents like betrayal, heartbreak, and betrayal. For heartbreak, betrayal, and the truth about that heartbreak and that betrayal, like cutting to the core and wrapped in blood, but also yet even but the passion is with such passionate betrayal. And then there's like the beautiful, like with all red, there's like these is like themed red in this thing, and even with this card, is like 9 is like another. It's a type of full finish card. With 9, it's on Pentacles, so there is like some fruition coming through, like things are coming through. Like now, it's like you're now getting close to the things that are becoming real. And I don't know, for some reason, this is like coming real to be more like of putting not only goals into reality, but also like there's, I think, some of financials, and also like needs, like having like whatever material need or whatever like survival needs that are need to be met, or it could also mean that something is being in the material world, like into actuality. And then this is usually a mental safe passage. It meant that then there's a resprite from, and in this case, it the rainbow. It's like a bridge. Like I am crossing over a safe passage, safely with clarity and on my own terms. And it is like clear. So this is called for retro. This is another deep one. Like this reading is like there's like 5 fucking layers, and I am mostly rambling because of like there's just so much layers to this. Let's see what I can pick up to make this digestible and leave on time, because I don't want to bore anybody. Like right from left to right, it is clear that what's being complete is what's being fulfilled is this hope for just to find the drive and passion and exploration and the inner fire to bring life and spirit and a sense of exploration of those things, and to explore what brings you liveness, what brings you alive, so that you can work past this heartbreak, this deep betrayal, the disillusionment, the deep truth about how you're lied to, and what you can do about it, and how to acclimate this experience so that you can get focused on creating stability and sense of thriving for yourself. Like this just means that you have made some aspects of thriving and surviving well, like focus, so that you can like take that to make the survival, and as you're surviving well in a way where it will bring you like relief, it will bring you relief and clarity, and that will get through life safely. That will get you through life safely. So what's being fulfilled is figure out a way to transmute the deep traumas and betrayals and disillusionments and being screwed over, basically, in a way that can give you the ability to get to these places, not in forgetting it or not pretending that you're ever going to be the same, because that's just not really, but rather reconnect with your spirit and explore ways of being in touch with your spirit and your fire and your sense of purpose and your sense of pride and sense of sense of pride, like exploring like a deep sense of pride and the infinite number of what brings her like Howard Thurman in his talks and in his right often asks like what don't focus on what makes better the world. I'm paraphrasing. What brings you alive? This is like it's basically what is completion is and fulfillment is the focus on what brings you alive, to be able to face this head on and be real and hold with this, whatever this you experience, this you're through swords, like hold with it and be real with it, and what is, without gaslighting either yourself, victim blaming yourself or other people, or resort to automatically makes yourself or someone the bad guy. Learn the deep thing and raw that is, as you are going to the spirit to give you strength to face this, and as you're facing this, give yourself like support, or give yourself time to focus on what can help you survive and thrive well, what things have been done, what support have you received, what things that nourishment have you received and get and have given and had them given, and remember that you're not just only facing this, you're also facing like progress, like huge progress on thriving and surviving well, like having aspects of wishes coming true at the same time, and have faith that there'll be a way to journey through the heartbreak. So what's being fulfilled is like finding journey through the heartbreak and holding the both and this is even more true now because a lot of people are holding this and are realizing you need to hold both of these without judging yourselves. And the theme I feel like is like learning how to realize that love is a way of grieving and grieving is a way of love, and it's being fulfilled as the truth about love is a form of grieving and grieving is a form of love. And how do we be well and in the midst of Scorpio, like I mean, this is like weird stuff. Like I don't know about everybody else, but the fact this trips me up. This is, I mean, how do we hold the fact that, but it also means facing this and both facing this. If we the capacity to face this, so that you can like go through these kind of things with a sense of like you're going through a safe passage. So this is like man, I talk too much. Or actually, part of me is sorry, I need to practice I preach in this one. Like this is like really deep reading. Like so, what gems to carry with you in all this. Like let's see what gems to carry with you on the super pink new moon. Like it's kind of funny how like the last 4 cards of like fulfillment that's occurring is all like red, pink, red, like related to some form of red and pink, which is not a coincidence. This is a pink full moon. So Let's see. This one's a sassy one. This card. Let's try to be sassy. Now give me something. Let's see. Not too. Hold on. So let's see, like, see, 3 cards. Let's go for the healing. Oh, what to carry with you with this deep full of Scorpio and with the cards that just want to kick your butts. Like these cards on this one are kicking my butt. They're kicking my butt. So it's nice to have some called the gems to carry with you with all this regarding the Estuary Moments. And this Estuary Moment is kicking my butt. Like, and I don't think I even touched the surface of this, like, for a while. Like, it's probably going to be a while before I even have an answer for any of these. And it's nice to end on a lovely note, but even then, it's deeper than it looks, kind of stuff. Like, what else is new about this for this evening? The first one is this is going to be from right to left. Is meditate and contemplate. And it's represented moon and the Pisces fishies. There's this saying like contemplate. Balsamic moon, time for healing. This is very appropriate. Oh my God. I mean, this is really funny, but this is so appropriate for today's full moon. And then the answers you need are coming. Oh, this is kind of a tricky one. Oh, this is interesting, even though moon. I mean, these two are straightforward, but the answers I need are coming. Well, the answers are coming. It depends on where you are. That ends with Gemini. The answers you need are coming. No, Gemini spoke. Full moon style. So to carry with you to what? Anyway, this should just meditate and contemplate. But try to contemplate safely because it's okay if it sucks. But make room to contemplate and meditate because this is a time to, you know, what else needs to be healed. Not from a place of there's something wrong with you, but a place like, oh, yeah, there's some more, not only more lessons to learn, it's multipolar. There's more lessons to learn, more things to write. I'm fine now. I just learned something more. And then, oh man, shit's starting to come up. That actually is hurting. And now I'm out of it. And I just need to give myself time to recuperate from that. And move away from the habits and patterns that I have developed because I was in a crappy situation. So time for healing is both realizing that for this full moon and the Estuary Moments that just and that follow, which is its own riddle. It's not only realizing, oh, there's more things to heal from a place of not saying that you're not enough, you are enough. It's just that there's just more things to uncover and also realized that, oh, I had that was needed, and I just got out of it. That required that, and now I'm not in that situation anymore. Like, what can I do with this now pattern that I've developed? Like, that is not the most supportive now that I'm out of it, or now that there's another way of dealing with an ongoing situation that's kind of hurtful. That's hurtful, and that is better, but now I have this pattern stuck. Like, how can I work with this? This is give yourself time to recuperate and heal, and even if it does take a while, like, there's no shame in having it take a while. And contrary, just as long as you're not intentionally hurting anybody. And as you're healing and as you're contemplating, like, what is telling me you need to come is that you don't have to force yourself to have an answer right away, or just only default to stick what you don't know. It's okay to, for the time being, to let the liminal space, like, hold you. So this is the gems, like, the answers you need coming. This is probably reminding you that it's okay to leave things unknown for a while on some things. Like, you know, so this is unknown, and so what we got here is, this is like a nice to just really think and give yourself time to recuperate, really just reflect, and be okay with living with the unknown for a while, because the answer will come, but don't force it. You don't have to force yourself to answer yet. Just trust that it will come, whatever that is. And even if it, and I want to have a caveat that being with little six does not mean not give up of finding the answer. It's just shift it from a place of, like, hey, you know what? I'm still going to look for the answer, but I'm not gonna make the liminal space as if it's the end of the world kind of thing. That's what I'm saying. So those are your messages, and now we're at the finally the I hope y'all enjoy it, and I want to close out with a ritual of what I call, this is called a Mini-Lectio Divina. And Lectio Divina is Latin for divine reading. And originally you read scripture or holy text, in this case the Bible text, to usually read 2 or 3 times, but in each time you have a different focus. Like, one, your attention to just learn and receive what the word says. Second is to see what words stood out to you, and the third is, like, what are you sensing now that you hear it, and now that you found words that drew you, and what are you picking up on through, well, a little bit. And I'm gonna read from a passage from a book that I had called The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, or I will get his name right. Khalil Gibran, and who was a Lebanese American poet. This is one of his first English poems, and this is more like, and this is about a guy who is just teaching people one last time about life before he is returning home, and there was supposed to be like a trilogy of this, but he died before that completed. So, so I know, and it has a spirit of its own. The fact that it never got out of print and it's still being published is kind of amazing thing. And there's something to it. Like, I mean, this is like, and I'm gonna read um, Joy from a section that seems to be very fitting. Like, I didn't know the reading, like, I swear. And I picked like Joy and Sorrow because this is based on like themes that the characters right tied in the poetic fashion, and it's like Joy Sorrow. Like, oh man, this is like really fitting for Moon Scorpio, and it's like, especially in light of what happened in Minneapolis, and in light of like the trial, in light of like our own personal lives, and in light of like questioning like what are we doing this year? Like, not just here but around the world. So it's like, and Pluto and Capricorn unveiling like these that don't work, like programs and systems are not working that need to be composted or in the trash bin. And unveiling, they go, what are better foundations to have in place? Which I don't know if we're gonna go close to the club, but right now I'm gonna start reading Khalil Gibran's Book the Prophet, and I'm going to probably read the whole poem once, and then I'm gonna read it the second time. So I'll say, called Joy and Sorrow. Then a woman said, speak to us, Joy and Sorrow. And he answered, your joy is your sorrow unmasked, and self-same well from which your laughter arises from oftentimes filled with your tears. And how else can it be? The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. Is not the cup that holds your wine the very cup that was burned in the potter's oven? And is not the lute that soothes your spirit the very wood that was hollowed with knives? When you are joyous, look deep into your heart, and you shall find it's only that which has given you sorrow that is giving you joy. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. Some say joy is greater than sorrow. Others say, nah, sorrow is the greater. But I say unto you, they are inseparable. Together they come, and when one sits alone with you on your board, remember that the other is asleep upon your bed. Verily, you are suspended like scales between your sorrow and your joy. Only when you are empty that you are at standstill and balance. When the treasure keeper lifts you to weight his gold and silver, needs must your joy or sorrow rise or fall. So this is, now let's read it again. And for the sake of time, we're going to just see what is communicating to me what the spirit of this word seems to never be out of print. Say, let's see what else can we get from this. Then a woman said, "Speak to us of joy and sorrow." And he answered, "Your joy is your sorrow unmasked, and self-same well from which your laughter rises was oftentimes filled with your tears. And how else can it be? The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. It is not the cup that holds your wine, the very cup that was burned in the potter's oven, and is not the flute that soothes your spirit, the very wound that was hollowed with knives. When you are joyous, look deep into your heart, and you shall find that it is only that which has given you sorrow that is given you joy. When you are sorrowful, look again into your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. Some of you say, joy is greater than sorrow. And others say, no, sorrow is the greater. But I say unto you, they are inseparable. Together they come. When one sits alone with you at your board, remember that the other is asleep upon your bed. Verily, you are suspended like scales between your sorrow and your joy. Only when you are empty are you at standstill and balance. When the treasure keeper lifts you to weigh his gold and silver, needs must your joy or your sorrow rise or fall. What's standing out is the question of like, is the cup that holds your wine the very cup that was burned in the bars in the potter's oven, and is the lute that soothes your spirit the very wood that was hollowed with knives? This is very interesting how it takes like the spirit of death to create the life. And this is communicating about those cycles of evolution, the cycles of like birth, life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth. Part of it is also having joy and sorrow. And what's communicating is basically the life of death, rebirth. Very fitting in Scorpio. I mean, I swear. I was thinking today of like to read this or even a part of like the joy and sorrow section. And then the readings we just had now that I react a lot because it's just like a lot, and I didn't even get to the core of them even, because it's just communicating like I had to sit with it a little bit. It's just gnarly and eerie, and it's really like that. Those questions and the joy, sorrow is just poem. It's the same thing with the love and grief. They all together, Joy is greater than sorrow, and sorrow is greater. Like there's no debate. You can't quantify that. Like, and it's just notice that what's communicated is the power of continuity and change and the paradox of that. And noticing the paradoxes of life and death and everything in between, the cosmos and the underworld, like it's super Scorpio, and that's like the ritual today. I want to thank you for you showing up. I want to thank you for registering and being here. Some updates, like I have a link tree account until I get my website right, and I will share this on here. If, and if anyone logs in, like, you can show it up on the link tree, and it has like, and I've been updating quite a bit the whole day, and now it has like the Facebook page that I created and the 2 card reading services, like the card readings I can do. I mean, if you're in, so you can check it out, and I appreciate your time here, and let's close out, like, let's go back to center. With this heavy reading, let's just like take like stretch of it, like, oh, I'm stretching, like whatever it is to shake it out, and then now we're closing out, and I can do one huge breath and in, and huge breath out, just to close out, because this is heavy shit. So it's like, breathe in, pause, and breathe out. All right, everyone, I appreciate you all being here, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and then we'll see you next time for the next full moon reading.